He put the racket there, and so he was in the neighborhood, and as time went on, his stroke could be adapted to the speed of the game as he got into pro tennis and so on. And there's many people, even if they're the best junior in the world, they got a helicopter going on here. They might even be playing pro tennis, but it's not world class. And we need to demonstrate or recognize there's a difference between great and good. There's a big difference. I mean, everybody has a good forehand on the tour, but there's great. They're special. Special doesn't break down as much biomechanically under pressure. So you got the unit turn in this position. Now, when you do the backswing, and Brian said it great, you almost have to chop it up. If you want to teach someone, if you say, do the unit turn and shape it to the outside, and if you watch tennisplayer.net, I talked about tapping the dog here, all right? Don't tap the giraffe, or don't pet the dog because the wrist is in the wrong place. You're going to tap the dog, and I'll get into that in a minute. You almost want to chop it up. Many students, if you want to teach this, I would go A, B, and then you have a pull the racket, which I'll get into. If you try to do it all at once, one stop shopping, one bite, it's not going to happen. You're going to go like this, and when they shape it, they're going to go that way. It just doesn't feel natural. I've had kids go like this. A, B, B, pull. A, B, B, pull. A, they did two B's. They tapped the dog twice. They really liked the dog. They went A, B, B, pull. Because they didn't have time to go the other way. It's all physics. The racket head has to be above the wrist. The racket head's above the wrist. You watch any of these guys when they hit the forehand. You watch any of these guys when they hit the forehand. If they don't pull, if they don't do this at the right time when the head's above the wrist, it ain't going to work. If you pull it from this position, it's not going to flip. If it does, it's minimal. There's no flip. It's nothing going to happen this way. It has to be to the outside. And it's the sequencing of movements. Everything has to be in harmony. We can't forget that. It's a flowing type movement, even though you have to chop it up. All right? So A, B. Look where B is. It's at a diagonal. The dog is back here. It's not here. It's a 3/4 swing. The racket head is above the wrist. But if you tap the dog, you wouldn't pet the dog. Anybody know why you wouldn't pet the dog? You guessed right, you get a free weekend at the Voluntary Tennis Academy. Right? Why wouldn't you want to pet the dog? What now? The racket won't flip. Last time I looked, golf, biomechanically, the clubs above the hands, you get this for free. Baseball, you start to pull, this is going to go faster, it's above. When you don't see people play on the Pro Tour going like this. Okay, they start the leg drive and the hip rotation. This whole thing is synchronized in harmony. They start to pull. If you stop the camera, boom! Somewhere there, John? That's where if you stop the camera, you can almost boom. You're going to see it every time. Every one of them's tapping the dog. Now, depending on their intention, more spin, less spin, they might be not quite as close. The grip might have a little bit to do with it, but the racket's going to do what we call flip. And because I'm in the trenches, when I started working on a lot of this stuff with Brian a long time ago, when he said the word flip, the first thing I know a lot of you are thinking like, flip your wrist. Because that's what I thought. And if I'm thinking it, I know that's what you guys are thinking. It's nothing to do with the wrist. The wrist has nothing to do with this at all. It's very passive at the end. When you pull the racket, and what I mean by pulling, it's like I got a hold of a rope, and I'm just pulling this way. Remember, what runs the show? The legs and the hips run the show. That activates the stroke. So if you're not going to push on the ground, you're not going to have a lot to offer. And if you don't want to bend, don't. Okay, so you're here. Okay, we're going to pull the hand forward. When I pull my hand, I'm driving my leg. The more you drive, it makes the hips go faster. That's just the way it works, all right? So when this goes back this way, the hips are going to rotate very quickly. Now, the racket head, what it does, the racket head, you can't see this on TV. goes. And a lot of you are going, yeah, you want to point the butt cap at the ball. That's good. That's a good tip. Good correction. The difference is this thing hits the slot so fast. You're hitting the slot so fast, the butt cap will be facing the ball, but that has really nothing to do with the stroke also. It's the timing and sequencing of this, pulling when the racket head, it's all physics. When you pull it from the outside, the racket goes. So that's why you see out there on the tour, it looks like they're using their wrist. It looks real flippy. It looks armed. It looks real like loosey-goosey. And you know what? They're not trying to do any of this. They're not trying to do any of this. Believe it or not, they're using their legs, their hips, and their trunk a lot more than this. This just comes in and cleans the show up at the end. That's all this muscle mechanics that I'm talking about isn't running the show. It's everything else that's doing this, the leg drop, and the hip rotation, and the pull. This is going to activate everything. This activates the racket. So the timing has to be good. But you've got to pull it when the racket head is above the wrist. Every student, and I'm talking thousands, and I'm talking the best kids in the United States. Doesn't matter if they won the Easter Bowl, the Orange Bowl, Toilet Bowl, whatever they want, I don't know. I can take any student, and if they go this way, and I set them right here, with the racket to the outside, and I pitch them a ball, and I say, what I want you to do is just pull as hard as you can, just pull, and then roll. Those are the two words that I want to always remember. Pull and roll are the two big ticket items. You're going to pull and roll. It doesn't matter what level. Number one in the nation, 5-year-old, every single person. Not one person hasn't said the same thing. Every one of them says the same thing. I go, what do you feel? They say, well, first off, they say, I feel stupid standing here just like that. But not once I get by that. They go, I feel my stroke is shorter, and I feel the ball going faster. Every person. It doesn't matter if it's a 5-year-old girl or a girl that's 150 in the world. They all say the same thing. Just from standing there, and I have them pull, they feel. And you can even hear this sound. Watch this. I swing, but just going to pull the racket. And I'm going to do this. I mean, the second one looks smoother. The last time I checked, it's not a beauty contest, all right? And you got to get out of this. If you want to be smooth and flowing and all that, don't get me wrong. Because when you relax, that's really the underlying factor, as someone mentioned today. If you're not relaxed, all right, none of this is going to work anyways. If you're not relaxing the golf ball, you don't just relax in general, nothing's going to work. So you got to relax. I mean, that's the key to playing at a high level. How intense can you be? Want to tear someone's head off and stay relaxed. I mean, that's the balance of any athlete. You're too tight or you're too relaxed, it's going to work against you. So when the racket's to the outside, you heard the difference in the sound. The head of the racket's going faster. So through all Brian's research, this is what's really going on at the highest level, and the people that were kind of what I call in the neighborhood have been able to adapt. And I've seen people, their rotations on the ball are just 50% more. The racket speed off the charts. But more importantly, it changes their court position. Because remember what I said, at the end of the day, it's much easier to, when the balls come faster and quicker, you're playing on the hitting side of the body, okay, this way. You're playing this way, and just more things are going to go wrong. So when we're out there coaching and say, hey, we want you to hit the ball in front like Federer. I hear that all the time. Or don't put your elbows so close. Or you're always late. First off, your elbow's going to come in. If you're going to swing from this position, and you can do it. I mean, you can win Wimbledon. I'm not saying you couldn't. I mean, on the men's tour, you can't. There's no way. You can swing like this, but you're never going to hit the ball out here. There's no way. It's impossible. The elbow's got to come back in because you're swinging in a semicircle. These guys are playing on this side of the body because they have no choice. If they were in the neighborhood, they've adapted their stroke. The pros lead the teachers, and we learn from them. All right? No one out there told better to tap the dog. Okay, trust me. But this is what we kind of put together a methodology of how to do this. So in a nutshell, rewind it. There's a lot of stuff I want to get into today. Your unit turn is critical. You got to get space. Kids don't even want to do that. They'd rather be in here, playing guitar or whatever. I don't know, they just want to be in here. You got to make them be here. Now you got to start. Now from here, if you can have them shape it, like Brian was saying, just get elbow extension, that's great. Because you wouldn't tap the dog like this. You're not going to tap the dog like that. You go, well, you might, but good dog. You're going to tap him like this. Your arm's going to extend. You want the elbow to extend. You can't keep telling someone for 4 years your elbow's too close or you're playing with a chicken wing. You can't keep telling them that. They're going to keep the elbow close. I'd rather have the chicken leg than the chicken wing, okay? Here, okay? This is the position. You come out of it, and when you pull it, it's going to straighten on its own. If you relax and you pull the hand, the racket head goes down and back. That's what we call the flip. And it hits the slot, just so powerful. And then at the end, when they pull, the elbow position, and the one talked about this morning, one of the biggest problems, some people can do this, and they make it flip, but then they bring the elbow back in. The key is maintaining this elbow angle to this position. And there's 25 corrective techniques that I could talk about. We don't have enough time, just when I see these things occur. But the key is maintaining that elbow angle here and turn it over. And you can say, well, that kind of looks like someone I know. Okay, and this is what happens. Same thing with the Dow. People have no idea how bettors in the Dow's forehand is so much alike, you have no idea. And a lot of you are probably going, what the heck was that about? Would you agree with that, John? That's what I meant, fundamentally. You're going to see Rafa, same thing. He pulls, arm is here, racket head's above, the flip, when he pulls, way out here, his arm's there. Because he's hitting more topspin, okay, and all these, this is a flare. That's window dressing, that has nothing to do with anything. Nothing to do with anything. But all these guys are much further in front. Now, it was talked about this morning a little bit about the heavy ball. Everybody knows what topspin is, or what we think topspin is. You swing low to high, and you get topspin. All right, that's vanilla topspin. Okay, that's what I call vanilla. There's a difference between topspin and the true heavy ball. You cannot get the true heavy ball swinging from this position. It's just physics. There's no way it's going to happen. The way you make the ball running by the heavy ball, if you're swinging from the outside, you can turn the racket over. What happens is this: when you pull it, the racket goes down and back. Now the racket's going to come straight at the ball, the hand path. Now I have the option to move the racket this way. I can move the racket vertically, and that's what you see. They turn it back over. It's here, and they turn it back over the other way. If the racket comes from this position, you got to manufacture the topspin. You can still have topspin, but it's not going to be the true heavy ball if you don't have the flip. And that's just the way it is. So you get that for free. You're going to get more spin and more power with this stroke. And if the balls come faster, it's easier. And if you want to hit the ball in the rise, it's better than someone saying, shorten your stroke because the ball's coming fast. You can shorten your stroke, go out there and play like that, but it ain't going to work if you really want to develop. And the reason why this is a problem is people want to take the racket back farther, all right, and if they can do it halfway decent, they stick with it. It's very hard to change muscle memory. It's been my experience just teaching just all kinds of ages and levels and seeing it every which way. It's so hard. And so you just do the best you can. And the reason why this is critical, I just feel, unless they change the rules of the game, it's going to get faster and faster. And stroke mechanics will be at an all-time high. And people should be willing to change. I mean, they change the mechanics all the time on the golf course. I mean, people they're changing their mechanics all the time. But I just think that you have, as a role model and a teacher and a coach, you have so much influence over who you got in front of you. Now, if it's a poor old lady, she might, I don't want to do this probably.